The thymus looks a lot like a butterfly and is located in the upper chest, under the breastbone, a little behind the heart, and over the windpipe. Hormones produced by the thymus gland are thought to affect the immune system and the neuromuscular transmission, although the exact role it plays in myasthenia gravis isn't really understood. Sometimes removing the thymus gland helps put MG into remission. Sometimes it doesn't. I had 3 crises over 7 weeks. That's a lot of problems. Finally, the medical team decided the only option was to do a thymectomy. The first thing I had to do was to go back to Sick Kids in Toronto and have a CT scan done. Once I got there, they asked me if I had any metal in my body. CT machines are electromagnetic, and metal will mess up the calibrations. From outside, the machine looked like a huge, giant donut. Then they put me in like I was cream filling. It was almost like the medical scanner that you see at the beginning of the video game Halo 1. It didn't make much noise though, which was quite good. I met with the surgeon that was going to do my surgery. He has a lot of experience with thoracic surgery, including thymectomies. He examined me and reviewed all my records, tests, and x-rays. I was scared about the surgery and told him that I was scared. The surgeon misunderstood me at first and thought I didn't want the surgery, but that was not correct. Being afraid and not agreeing to surgery are not the same thing. I was just very afraid, and who wouldn't be? It's major surgery. My mom and I met with the anesthetist. He asked if I had any allergies and medications I was taking. He also asked if I ever had an operation before, and if I had any bad reactions to the anesthesia. I had an operation when I was 5, and I did not have any problem with the anesthetic back then. That made the doctor feel a little better, I think because it meant that I did not have a history of bad reactions. The surgeon set a date for the operation. It was less than 2 weeks before I had to be back at Sick Kids for the surgery. Not everyone diagnosed with MG will have a thymectomy. There are lots of treatments and options before someone with MG has to decide if they're going to agree to a thymectomy. Almost 35 years ago, my uncle, who also had MG, agreed to a thymectomy when he was 17. He went through a transsternal, the version where they cut through the breastbone. I was going to have a transcervical, but wound up having a transthoracic because my thymus gland was not the size the surgeon expected it would be based on the scans. The night before the surgery, we had to drive into Toronto and stay overnight in a hotel. A funny thing happened in Toronto. At the corner of Avenue Road and Bloor Street, there was a church with a big church sign, and the church sign had my name on it. Driving towards the hospital for sick children, there was a huge construction sign in downtown Toronto with my name on it. There were other things with my name on it as well, so I got the idea that this was a message from God that the operation was gonna go fine. I had to go to bed early. I needed a good night's sleep because I had to be at the hospital at 6 a.m. to prepare for the operation. That meant I had to be out of bed by 5 a.m. That's a ridiculous time to get out of bed, especially when you're a kid. But I knew the reason I had to come in early was because the doctors wanted to make sure that they had more than enough time to perform the operation and to do it to the best of their abilities. At the hospital, the nurse took me into the preparation room. She had me get into a surgical gown. It was okay, but the blue slippers were a little too much. She checked my heart and breathing, took my blood pressure, ran some blood tests, had both my hands prepped for where the IV was going. I'm sure she did a few other things. It's all a blur to me now. Here's an interesting fact. The day I went in for my thymectomy, the World Health Organization declared that the H1N1 flu had gone pandemic. My friends Thomas Taylor and Kate Reed came with my mom and I to the hospital that day. We all got to sit together in the pre-op waiting room. The anesthesiologist took my mom to the hallway to talk to her privately. That left me alone with Thomas and Kate. Since they were a captive audience, I thought I'd pull a joke on them. This is what I said. Listen, if I croak on the table, there's something I want you to know. Make sure my mom never finds the black box hidden beneath my bed. You have to get it out of there. Promise me that. I have a loft bed in my room. There's 5 feet of space under my bed. There's no way I could hide anything without my mom finding it under there. But Thomas and Kate leaned forward, and Thomas said, "Oh yeah?" The last thing I remember, I smiled and said, "Hallelujah. Just kidding." And then everything went black.
Yo, yeah, y'all know what time it is.